Good afternoon. My name is Bill Sigler, and like you, I'm a student of bushcraft. What I'd like to share today is something that is probably simplistic for a lot of people, but I have a feeling it'll be helpful for others. And that is how you can use one simple little thing to help build on your knowledge of several different hitches and knots. And that is the simple loop. Now, what I hope you bring away from this today is that with one simple little device, you can use it to build 5 very useful hitches and knots. The simple device that I'm talking about is a loop. I mean, everybody can make a loop. It's very easy. Take a bite of rope, flip one side behind the other, and you have a loop. Where this becomes useful, as we know before, is that you can make a half hitch out of it. Tie it on, and to help you out, take another half hitch, which is another loop, put it on, and you can secure whatever you need to. That's one. Second one, as soon as I get this unraveled, there we go, is to build on that, you take your loop, and the side I'm crossing under is this side, part of the standing end, and this would be all facing you as you're tying it. Take another loop and lay it on top of the first one. That gives you 2 loops. And what this gives you is a clove hitch. Now, the clove hitch itself is very useful for tying on poles or things that you want temporary attachments to. Okay, it's very secure, and as long as you keep strain on it, it won't release on you. Okay, what I've done is I've taken and tied a clove hitch onto a piece of furring strip to make it easier to see. And the basic setup looks like an X with lines in the middle. This is your bitter end, and this is your standing end here. To make the next knot, which is not part of the loops, but it's based on the clove hitch, is you take your bitter end, find which one of the ones come up through the hitch from your standing end, and then wrap around the back of it and bring it out between the 2 others at the top. And when you cinch this down, you have it wrapped around the center part from your standing, and this is a constrictor knot. Like the clove hitch, it's very useful in tying on, but unlike the clove hitch, you're using all the friction of the bitter end wrapping around the standing end coming up, and it has a much better tendency to lock in place. Now, the third one is completely different, but it's still based on the loop. So the first one was a half hitch. Second one, take it and lay it on top, is a clove hitch. Now, do one more and lay it on top, and you old timers will know this is what's called a sheep shank. Now, it's not a sheep shank until you complete it. So right now I have 3 loops stacked on top of each other. What I do is I reach through one end and grab the middle loop, and I reach through from the other end and grab the other loop. And if you can see this as I pull them apart, you can see this hitch and this hitch are starting to cinch down on the center ones. And as I apply pressure to my standing part and my finished end, it will cinch down on the line. And if you do it properly, no matter how much pressure you put on it, the hitches won't break. Now, you have to be careful that your hitch in the middle doesn't over rotate, because if it does a little bit, this is what happens. It will loosen up and come through, and the knot will completely untie. So this is not to be used as a life safety knot. It's used basically for shortening lines for whatever purpose, sailing primarily. The third one that I'd like to show you based on the simple loop is what I've heard called as a Navy sheepshank. Now, if anyone out there can help me and tell me the correct name for it, I would appreciate it. But the basis is this. Instead of just the 3 that we do with the sheepshank, you put a 4th one and stack it. And the way you make it is you reach through 2 from the one side and grab the third loop, reach through 2 from the other side and grab the third loop. Then just like the regular sheep shank, you pull it apart and your 2 hitches here and here cinch down. Now what happens by making 4 and going through the middle is you have this little knot mass in the middle. So you still have your 2 hitches here tightening down on the line, but the knot mass in the middle helps prevent slippage and makes it a more secure knot. So anyone who ties a sheep shank, you might want to consider this and see how it helps you. But the more friction in the middle means that there's much less of a chance of your hitches towards the end slipping and going south on you. Well, I hope you find this helpful. I know that the older timers or the people who've been tying knots for a while already know all this, but I think that it's a useful tool to help remind the people who haven't been tying knots very long that if you build on what you already know, you can get more and more use out of the knots that you know. So as always, I'd like to thank you for your time, and I'll see you out there in the woods. Thank you.